You are now watching The Lone Blown. Blown! Yo, what's poppin' YouTube? You're back here at The Lone Blown. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Zach Lesage, and today the video we're going to be going over is Centiskorch. Now, in the past week, or I guess past weekend, it's been a blur a little bit. Centiskorch has kind of risen to the top of the metagame, and that's largely due to Pedro's win at the Chill TCG Series 15 event. He played kind of a new Centiskorch Silvally list, and that kind of pushed things over to the top, and it grew exponentially from there. Since then, we saw Thomas Brophy, Cashman, and a few other players all play Centiskorch. However, a lot of the lists were the Centiskorch with abilities and Scoop Up Nets version of the deck than playing just a Silvally deck. So it's kind of been a battle of which one's better. I mean, with the Centiskorch Silvally deck being so new, I figured I'd wait a little bit until maybe later this week or next week to cover the deck when I'm a little bit more comfortable with it, and I could give you a proper kind of, I can analyze it better. But today we're going to be going over the Centiskorch with Scoop Up Nets, abilities, the deck that really Thomas and Cash popularized. So if you're missing any of the cards for this deck, head over to PTCGO plug in code ZLesage5 at checkout. The list is below. Again, I don't think this list that I'm playing is my list, or if there is, there's maybe one or two changes to it. Other than that, it's the list that Thomas and Cash have completely popularized along with their testing group. So let's check out the list, and then after that, we're going to be checking in some gameplay, and we'll give you some final thoughts on the deck. And if you haven't already subscribed already, hit that subscribe. We're on our road to 1,000 at the time of this video. So please help a brother out if you can. All right, let's check out this list. So here we have it, this amazing Centiskorch list. So let's go over what Centiskorch VMAX is. Centiskorch VMAX is a large HP'd VMAX Pokemon. So it's kind of like a stage 1. But you want to know what? That's fine. We can take the turn to evolve because we just need turns to get energy into play. So it does for 2 colorless energies, which is quite easy to acquire with just manually attaching or playing Welder. You can do 40 plus 40 for each fire energy attached to this. And if you did any damage with this attack, which I mean usually you do, you can attach a fire energy card from your discard pile to this Pokemon. So it's one of those things that if you use Gmax on Inferno, you get an extra fire at the end of your turn. It doesn't count towards that damage, but next turn it can load it up quite quickly. So you have some self-acceleration in here. You're doing a lot of damage with the Gmax and Inferno attack, and you're just kind of vibing with that. You have, like I said, you have the Welder card that this deck is based off of, so you can attach up to 2 fire energies from your hand to one of your Pokemon if you do draw 3 cards. You got the Giant Hearths, you got the Fire Crystals, you got the Fire Energies. You see how it's working here. This deck is based off of a Jirachi and Scoop Up Net engine, so you can get the Jirachi out of the active spot. So you can use Stellar Witch to make the deck a little bit more consistent, because Welder decks do tend to be a little bit more clunky than normal decks. And you can just grab Giant Hearth, you can grab that Welder you need, you can grab that Switch that you need, whatever you need off the Jirachi, you can usually grab it. Since the deck does play Scoop Up Net cards, you can use Giratina to drop from your hand, discard a special energy. This is great to take off those special coating metal energies. And you could also take away even things like stone fighting energies, whatever you need. There's a lot of special energy in the format, especially with all these new like something and then a color energy. So like the speed lightnings, aromatic grass energy, things like that. Giratina is great at ripping those off. You're not really going to attack with it, but it is a Scoop Up Net Pokemon. If you're not going to see this, if your opponent's not playing any special energies, discard it from your deck when you can off Giant Hearth. Phione allows you to kind of not really deck out, because you can continuously draw the Phione, but it allows you to force your opponent in some awkward positions, especially if they only put down like 1 Pokemon. So if you can't get a knockout on their ADP, there's a good chance you could just knock out a Zacian or a Dedenne-GX when you're playing against ADP. There's a few other uses for this card, but I mean, Phione, just try to look for opportunities to force your opponent into a really awkward position. That's where Phione's going to shine. Zigzagoon, another Pokemon that's spammable by the Scoop Up Net. You can use Headbutt Tantrum to put extra damage on your opponent's Pokemon. So maybe you're that 1 energy off, but you need the extra damage counter. You can hit it with Zigzagoon. Namely for Charizard, Reshiram and Charizard-GX, that is, with Flare Strike, with the 1 Zigzagoon ping, you can knock out a Pikachu and Zekrom GX. With a few Zigzagoon pings, you can honestly get some kind of cheese knockouts on your opponent's Pokemon. This Reshiram and Charizard-GX is a great way to rush through some matchups. So if your opponent starts with like a Zacian V, you can go turn 1 double Blaze, then chase something down with Flare Strike. They still can't knock you out. And then you can chase something down with like an Outrage or a Switch Flare Strike. I do like the options that this card presents for this matchup. It's one of those things whereas the deck cuts down on lightning or on fire energies, Heatran GX is not going to be as viable in this deck. Of course, you could always use Volcanion as a single prize card Pokemon. This is great against Decidueye and Obstagoon decks. It's another one of those things where High Heat Blast is a fine attack. Flare Starter is really when you go second. If you could use Flare Starter, get one of your Centiskorch Vs all powered up, or get a Reshiram and Charizard all powered up. It's one of those things that's great. You also could discard energies from your opponent's Pokemon. And of course, we do have the Crobat to draw some cards. We have Eldegoss to get back a supporter. I mean, namely Welder and Boss Sorters are amazing. The Dedenne-GX can also just pitch your hand and draw some more cards. So we have a lot of really cool things going on with this deck. I know I haven't been silent about it in the past. I think that fire decks are my absolute favorite decks to play. There's something that's just so invigorating about them. I think they're just very powerful Pokemon, and I kind of like those quick attacks that can do a lot of damage and kind of overwhelm your opponent. I feel like that's what gives me strength as I play Pokemon and allows me to make a commanding lead over my opponent's deck. More or less when it comes down to it, I think that this deck is not one without options. I think if we're looking here, we got the options of Radiating Heat, Burning Train. You have energy accelerating options. You have a wide variety of attacks on Reshiram Charizard-GX. I mean, I came second place at an international championships with this very card. So it's one of those things where I'm very excited to have a deck that uses it as a tech card. Accelerating energy, damage, single prize card attacker, removing energies, forcing your opponents, getting some extra cards, doing some extra damage. If you think about it, like every card kind of has its purpose. And this is a really refined list that Thomas and Cash have worked on over the past few months. They've been Centiskorch lovers for a while now. So, I mean, I think this is absolutely one of the most refined lists that we have in the game right now. And it kind of makes the word solved formats kind of come out. I mean, I don't think our format's necessarily solved because it's moving at a rapid pace and so slowly at the same time. But I mean, the Centiskorch list is not going to be bad in this format at any point, unless, of course, water decks start popping out. Moving on to the trainers, we got the Fire Crystal to get back some of our fire energies. I mean, that's great if one of your Pokemon gets knocked out, or you have to discard some off to Dedenne-GX. Great Catcher allows you to play a Welder and bring up something to punish your opponent for having something down. You can keep up to pace or keep tempo in the game with the Great Catcher play, and I really like it just because it's Welder. You want to Welder every single turn for the most part. Pokemon Communication here is because there's lots of Pokemon in the deck. You can see that there's 19 right there. So you could just put back one of the Pokemon that you don't need, maybe that Giratina that doesn't have special energies. You put that in the deck and swap it out. It's one of the only cards that searches out evolution Pokemon or non-basic Pokemon in our game. So Pokemon Communication is kind of the catch-all best card. You could also, if you already have the Centiskorch VMAX, or if you're struggling a little bit, don't hesitate to grab a Dedenne-GX with it. Quick Ball is just a format staple at this point. Grabbing most of our basic Pokemon, we do have 16 in this deck, so we have a lot of options that we could choose from there. Reset Stamp, I think punishing your opponent is absolutely huge when it comes down to playing Pokemon. So just like getting a big Centiskorch VMAX, your opponent takes that one last knockout, you go forward with the Centiskorch VMAX, and you're ready to solo the game. What better to pair that with than shuffling your opponent's hand into the abyss and being like, if you top deck nothing, I have win next turn. And if you top deck something, I still might be able to win. Reset Stamp is really one of the only few comeback cards we have in this format and makes the game a little bit more fair. I mean, you live or die by the Reset Stamp, but at least you have the option in this deck. Scoop Up Net is just to really get all those Pokemon back. Remember, you cannot use it on V or GX Pokemon. So it's really just more or less a way to use Jirachi and spam some Zigzagoons and stuff like that. But don't be afraid to use it on a Volcanion, even if the Volcanion has energy, if you need to get out of the active spots. Switch allows you to go from the front to the back. I mean, again, like Quick Ball, it's a format staple card. Raichu and Alolan Raichu's Tandem Shock is huge in the game right now. So it's one of those things you just probably want to just get out of the active spots. and you'll be fine. Giant Hearth allows us to pitch a card. Use this to thin your deck, especially late game. It can stop Marnies and reset stamps from clogging up your deck with unwanted cards. You want to thin towards more juicy cards in your deck. So if you don't need that Giratina, discard it. If you don't need that extra Jirachi, discard it. Be very mindful of the cards that you need and don't need in a game, and you will quickly see yourself seeing more success. Bird Keeper is interesting. This card, I think, could either be a Malalana or a Bird Keeper, but I think Bird Keeper is great for now. You could switch your active with one of your bench and draw 3 cards. It's a great way to have a searchable by Eldegoss V or Quick Ball way, especially if your opponent tandem shocks your Centiskorch VMAX. I mean, it's also one of those things where just getting that out of the active spots, not having to worry about playing an item card, this being a hard supporter allows you to get out of the active spots. Boss, I mean, you want to bring up whatever you want, choose the Pokemon you want to get knocked out, make sure you have the correct amount of energy on your Pokemon, or that you're doing enough damage with your attacks. Welder allows you to just get extra energies into play. I mean, Welder is largely one of the best supporter cards in the game. I know Professor's Research, Marnie, and Boss's orders usually take up the top 3 spots. I'd argue that Welder putting a whole kind of archetype or a whole type on its back largely makes it more impressive, but I mean, that's for another day. And then enough fire energies to make this deck work. So I mean, we have a fully functional deck. Again, I think I might have changed a card. If not, I have not changed anything from Thomas and Cash's list. I'd love to hear their thoughts about it in the comments. I'm sure they'd love to help you spread the love of the Centiskorch. I mean, I went 7-0 in the Players Cup qualifiers for North America with Centiskorch, so I do know what I'm doing with Centiskorch. I do have a long history of playing successful fire decks with Volcanion-GX and Reshiram and Charizard-GX, among others. I mean, I feel like I've been pretty successful with fire, so let's check it out, see some gameplay with this awesome deck, and stay tuned for that. Okay, so our opponent's calling the coin flip. We'll give them a big old hello. And do we want to go first? Well, most decks do want to go first in this format. We do want to go second most of the time. So we're going to go no. The reason why we want to go second is because we do have access to that Volcanion that allows us to get set up pretty nicely. I mean, this hand looks pretty cute if you ask me, because we can get out that Volcanion. We can get out maybe a Dedenne. We'll have to see exactly what our top deck is before we make a decision, but there is a lot of crucial decision making in this deck. And you can see our opponent already they're playing the Centiskorch V card as well. So it's one of those things, they probably wanted to go second with their deck. We'll see exactly what version they're running. If they grab a type null at any point, they're running the Centiskorch Silvally version. But let's see how it goes. The fact that they grabbed the Crobat there is a little bit weird. Oh, and they're reset stamping us. See, this is what I mean about making decisions. We just don't... there's really not that much of a reason for us to make any decisions yet. So we do have the switch. We do have the Welder. I think what I want to do here is go Welder a single energy on to the Volcanion, see what the 3 cards are to thin my deck out, and then I want to use Stellar Wish. If I use it the other way around, we're trying to get into a Quick Ball or a Pokemon Communication, which is, as far as I'm concerned, 7 cards out of the deck. There's also the Centiskorches, so I mean 10 cards. I think we have a pretty good chance of getting it here. So let's go Welder. We're just going to get the 1 energy because that's all we really need off the Volcanion. So far, no luck there. And let's go for Stellar Wish. So we did find the Pokemon Communication. I am going to go Pokemon Communication and put back the Zigzagoon. We're just checking through here, making sure that we have access to our cards. We do have the Centiskorch Vs. Nothing crazy so far. Seems like it's been prized. We are running a little bit low on the Welder card, but we do have another one in our hands. Energies is something else we need to pay attention to. There's only 5 in the deck. 6, 7, 8. That means we prize 3 of our fire energies, which might be a little bit difficult to deal with in the game. But let's go fire energy here. We can go switch. And let's go Flare Starter. So I mean, 4 energies on our first turn on our Centiskorch V and 1 to the active is not bad at all. If our opponent does not get out a Centiskorch VMAX, they could be in a world of pain. Oh, and they're going right for the Radiating Heat. So we need to basically find a way out of the active spots. I mean, Dedenne-GX is certainly a way to find that. With our opponent not having much in their hand, I think I just want to go Welder. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 energies is 200 plus a base 40, 240. So we're basically looking for a switch. Our opponent's going to concede, obviously, because they think that we have it. But that's a pretty good game for us. All right. So we're going to call a coin flip again. We're going to call tails. We lost a coin flip. Now, we'll see exactly who's going first, who's going second. Looks like we are stuck going first. Now, I think the best card for us to start with here is Phione, because everything else allows us to kind of vibe with what we're doing. Let's see. Just waiting for our opponent to choose an active Pokemon. Okay, so they got a Victini V. I actually kind of really like this hand to not really do too much. I'm probably just going to go Quick Ball, discarding a Boss Orders to bank that in the discard pile for an Eldegoss later. Search my deck for a Centiskorch V. I'm going to Giant Hearth here. Go Giant Hearth, discarding a Dedenne-GX. I know it hurts, but we're probably going to discard one anyways. Grab a couple Fire Energies. There's the Centiskorch V. And I feel like I'm pretty set to go here. We're just going to go ahead and pass our turn away. Because we do want to keep that Welder in our hand. We do have the Giant Hearth. So we got a lot of good things going for us. We just got to pass here. So our opponent looks like they're playing a fire deck as well. They might be going for a Spreading Flames on their first turn because they don't necessarily have Volcanion. I don't know what deck plays Crushing Hammers and Victini V. But we'll see exactly. The fact that they went for Crushing Hammer first makes me wonder what their kind of line of play is. I think it's more important to play cards like Cherish Ball, get an idea of your deck, and then decide what you're wanting to do. Because Crushing Hammer to me is more of an auxiliary card, whereas Cherish Ball allows you to see the full depths of your deck. I mean, should have I searched my deck out first? Yes, I think that's probably very, very true. But we'll see exactly how it goes. Our opponent playing Mewtwo and Mew GX. It's one of those things where I'm not necessarily happy about facing this deck. They can play Aurora Energies, things like that. I don't know entirely what techs they have because they didn't discard them, but we do have to be wary of things that they could play like Indeedee VMAX or Indeedee V, and just things that can do damage for the amount of energy that we have in play. So I'll try to watch that, but if I run into a mistake, it's because Mew's kind of fallen out of the metagame. I feel like it loses to Pikarom. I feel like it loses to a lot of these decks. It really only has a Centiskorch matchup. And even that is not entirely winnable all the time. Weird choice of text here with the Victini V and the Absol. To see what our opponent does here. Maybe I think they're just going to go Spreading Flames. Attaching energy to the active. Getting 3 to the bench. But we'll see how it goes. Don't know if I like the Air Balloon there in general. I think it would have been much better to just keep the Air Balloon in hands. There's no way that I would ever reset stamp someone from 3 to 6. So just knowing your opponent's deck will definitely help you out a lot as you play Pokemon. The Quick Ball here is nice. I'm just going to go Giant Hearth. I don't think I need the Zigzagoon. If I attach 3 energies, yeah, I don't think it matters, particularly in this matchup. So we're just going to grab 2 energies there. I'm going to go ahead and Welder first before I do anything else. We do have the switch. So let's go ahead here and switch, attach an energy. We don't have an energy in our discard pile. We do want to have that for Centiskorch VMAX. Let's go ahead here and grab a Crobat. We really need the Centiskorch VMAX this turn. So let's go ahead. Oh no, that's so awkward. We are taking 2 prize cards. So I think it's one of those things. Let's just double check to see what we have available in here. Let's go Pokemon Communication. I mean, I do want to go for the Centiskorch VMAX at this point. So we do not have access to a Dedenne Crobats. We don't have access to that. What do we have for supporter cards? We don't really have any supporter cards. What about quick balls? We have no access to quick balls. We have no access. I mean, we're probably not going to be drawing anything off of our prize cards if we do get to it. However, I feel like if we pitch all of our switch away, that to me seems really spooky. I'm just going to grab the Centiskorch VMAX. I feel like we're fine to just like hit face. It's one of those things where we have a knockout here for 2 cards. If we miss it, we'd be in a really rough position. Next turn, we might be able to draw 3 prize cards, and I think it's not necessarily a great matchup. So we're lined up correctly in order to do that. So we're going to get the knockout for 200 damage here, getting a 240 on the Centiskorch V now for next turn, and then a single energy attachment allows us to kind of get that knockouts on the Mewtwo and Mew-GX. I mean, our opponent does play Crushing Hammers. They got 2 tails, unfortunate for them, but we'll have to see exactly how it goes here. If they don't get a Crushing Hammer heads, or put a big charm, or get a knockout, or do something weird, we will just get a knockout on a Mewtwo Mew-GX and push ourselves up 5 prize cards. I'm fine to kind of thumble through the game in order to draw 5 prize cards. But you want to know what? If you feel like that's a mistake, let me know in the comment below. Maybe I value the switch too highly, or just my hand, or just like risking it for the Centiskorch VMAX. I don't know what my odds would have been. I would have seen the next 6 cards on my deck to put me at 26. Already used Crobat that turn. So, I mean, I would have had 4 out of 26, or 4 out of 32. So it's about a 1 in 8 card chance. 8, 16, 24, 32. Yep, about a 1 in 8 chance. The fact that they're powering up Absols kind of spooks me out. I don't know. It's interesting. But I don't think I would have got the Centiskorch VMAX there on odds. Maybe our opponent so they have the Incineroar there. I just don't know which attack they'd want to choose. I mean, Indeedee V is really one of the ones that we're worried about. Them using Hopper and GX for 4 energies to do 200 doesn't seem that sad to me. 200 damage I'm fine with. 130 or doing 130. I mean, 130 seems like their fair base amount. I don't know if they grabbed... Okay, so they used Quick Ball and they did draw the Volcanion out of their deck. So, I mean, I don't know what our opponent's thinking of here. I mean, best case scenario for us is that they hit us for 130. Yeah, they're going to go for the 200 attack. Okay, so we'll get another Centiskorch V down. This seems cool to me. We will go ahead and... I think we're going to rip the Volcanion out here. Actually, you want to know what? I feel like we rip a switch. As much as I was trying to hold on to the switch the turn before, I don't think it's absolutely necessary. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 energies. 6 times 4 is 240 plus 40, 280. That will be a knockout. I am going to put the Volcanion down in case we do need a buffer of any sort. And of course, we're just going to hold on to this hand right now. So let's go ahead and go G-Max Centiferno for the knockout. No extra energies there. I don't think any extra energies are needed here. 1, 2, 3. 30 plus 30 for each colorless energy. So they can hit us for 120. Yeah, our opponent just doesn't have it, so we'll take the win. We went all in and it worked out. Okay, so we're going to call a coin flip. Again, hoping that we can go second here. We lost the coin flip. But our opponent's going to go first for us anyways. That's one good thing about Centiskorch, is that a lot of the time most decks want to go first in this format. So for us going second, it's kind of huge. Now, this isn't particularly our like greatest hand by any means, but there's a lot of options that we could choose to do with this. I'm going to vibe out here, see exactly what our opponent's going to do. Opponent with the Jirachis. Quick ball. We don't know exactly what our opponent's playing. If they're playing Jirachi, there's a good chance that they're playing the Centiskorch deck. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where... Oh, baby Blacephalon. Yikes. Okay, well, in that case, let's go for... It's a weird matchup. Let's go Pokemon Communication away, a Centiskorch V. I don't think they're going to do too much to our Centiskorch V on the bench. So let's go right here. Let's Welder power it up. I don't want to give our opponent the gasoline. So let's just go like this. And I think we're ready for next turn to go. Giant Hearth goes down, Dedenne goes down. Centiskorch obviously would evolve before that happened, but let's just vibe out here. So we're ready to knock out most of our opponent's Pokemon, depending on what tech choice they have. So it's been a very fire type deck today, or just fire type meta, as you can see. Water might make a comeback, which might make Pika the best deck again. See, our opponent played a Giant Hearth for us. That's the one good thing about Fire Mirror. You don't have to really worry about them being one of those Giant Hearths in play. If our opponent does not play down the other Jirachi, we could just knock out their Blacephalon. And they probably don't want to allow our Centiskorch V to come up here. So a lot of the time they just like spend time going back and forth with all these Pokemon. See how it goes. This matchup I think is going to be heavily reliant on just like having Welders, having reset stamps. So we'll see exactly what we can do against our opponents. I think we want to knock out 2 single prize carded Pokemon and aim to knock out 2 prize card Pokemon. But you can see our opponent's using a lot of their resources here. Just drawing cards. You can see there's one of the 2 prize card Pokemon I was talking about. So I mean, our goal is just to kind of survive right now. Really wish we had Marnie, but I don't know if I would have ever promoted the Blacephalon like they just did. I think just like to go against a Phione to discard 2 energies seems a little spooky. Could be wrong. Maybe they're like, I can knock out the Phione, I can knock out the Centiskorch VMAX, then I can knock out the Dedenne that Zach will have to play down. I'm just going to discard that energy from play, just so we have an energy in our discard pile, and let's just go to Dedenne-GX here. Really not a lot of options here in terms of getting set up. I mean, we could draw 3 cards. We could also just go Eldegoss down and get a few extra cards. Let's go for the Eldegoss play, because we can get that Welder back. Eldegoss, let's go Welder. We don't want to play the Bird Keeper yet. I'm just going to go 2 energies now because they might play a Reshiram and Charizard-GX. I mean, I don't see any reason not to power this up, so let's see how it goes. Let's go G-Max Centinferno. I don't think there's anything else we want to do here. So my goal is to really force our opponent through 2 3 prize card Pokemon. They have to discard 7 energies to knock out this Pokemon. And the fact that they've already used 2 Scoop Up Nets and 2 Switch means that they might struggle to get out of the active position at some points. But let's keep on figuring out exactly what we can do. I'm not entirely sure how most people rate this matchup. I wouldn't necessarily say it's unfavored, but I wouldn't, like, it's not my favorite matchup to hit. Let's see what our opponent can do here. What did they draw there? They drew another Jirachi. I think the big way how we're going to be able to win this matchup is that we're going to be able to get a knockout every single turn at some points, and then just like vibe out after a reset stamp. So we've taken step one of my things. We win the game in 3 turns, or at least the goal is to win the game in 3 turns. Our opponent wins the game in 2 turns, and they get to go first. So, I mean, we have a little bit of a long road of recovery in front of us. But you can see they did not fully get out the Blacephalon there. So they're just kind of vibing out. I don't know if there's anything that we particularly want. We can get off a free Jirachi this turn if we really want to. I don't see any reason to just, like, get powered up or anything like that. So let's go ahead with the Reshiram here. I'm going to go to Pokemon Communication. Put away this Crobat. I'll keep the Crobat for later. We're going to go Jirachi. Might as well grab a Fire Energy out of our deck. Jirachi. Switch into Jirachi. See what we got here. We do have a Boss's Order, which is sneaky. We can just knock out that Blacephalon, forcing them to find yet another Welder. I kind of like that play. Although, us not being able to knock out the Crobat sounds harsh. So maybe we want to knock out the Crobats. Maybe that's just the better play. So let's go Scoop Up Net. It's tough because there's the 2 energies there and it seems so tempting. But I mean, this allows us to win the game. So we just basically need our opponent not to win in one of these next upcoming turns. So let's just knock out this. Our opponent's probably not going to be playing any kind of reset stamp or anything like that. It's not very typical of these decks. So we just want to get something set up for next turn. I'm going to put the Jirachi down. And we're just going to vibe out here. See what we can get for next turn. So we do have access to Switch, we do have Scoop Up Nets, we do have Quick Balls, so we do have plenty of cards that we can do. Let's just go G-Max Inferno for a lot of damage. Now, the energy there, I'm just actually going to keep in the discard pile. That's just in case we want to get a Fire Crystal out, giving us more opportunities to make decisions. Because that is the last energies. 7, 8, 9. We do have 2 energies in our discard pile still. Or not in our discard pile, in our prize cards. So we just got to see exactly what's going on. Will our opponent be able to find the 7 energies necessary to get the knockouts? I mean, this seems possible for sure. Yep, there's the energies. Now, we're really focusing all in on getting off a reset stamp on our opponents. So we need kind of a reset stamp and a Fire Crystal in order to win this game, I think. We do have 1 Fire Crystal out of the deck. That's going to take priority for sure. Quick Ball, I think, for the Crobat is probably going to be our best opportunity. Let's go Pokemon Communication. Putting back in this card. We don't want to grab any of the extra cards just because we're trying to use Crobats. We might as well discard our Giant Hearth here because there's no energies left. And let's see what Stellar Wish number 1 brings us. So Great Catcher, I don't know if that's particularly going to be the most helpful. There's no Pokemon that we could bring up. So let's go for a Scoop Up Net because Welder's not going to do anything. So there's a Scoop Up Net. Let's put a Jirachi down. let's Scoop Up Net as well onto the first one. So we can keep on using our Jirachis to draw into what we need. Let's go Stellar Wish. Reset Stamp is definitely one of the cards that we were looking for. So let's go ahead and grab that. So this is where we're going to use all of our Scoop Up Nets. Let's go Scoop Up Net here again. Let's go Stellar Wish. I'm going to go ahead and grab a Quick Ball. We do have at least one more other chance to get it. So let's go Scoop Up Nets here. Really just searching for that Fire Crystal. The boss orders, it seems great here. I think I will just go ahead and do that, bring that up. I don't know if our opponent has enough. Maybe they do. I'm gonna go ahead and grab a Quick Ball. Just so we could thin out. So this is our last Jirachi that we have. So we're going to take out our other Jirachi. So we're going to search for another card. We're just grabbing cards that we don't need. Like Centiskorch V is a card that's just not going to matter in this game anymore. We're going to Quick Ball this away to thin out our deck again. There's a Jirachi, you can see a Volcanion, a Zigzagoon. We don't want to grab anything because we're going to be playing our Crobat V this turn. So we're just going to go ahead here. Reset Stamp our opponent so we could get the extra card out of our hands. I really don't see a way that I want to put down something else. So I'm just going to go Switch to get the full effect. So we're going to be going Crobat for 6. And we did not get it. So this is where it becomes incredibly difficult for us to win the game. Because we do have those extra 2 energies prized. Let's just go ahead and Outrage here. Maybe we'll be lucky enough to top deck it. It is one out of the 10 cards that we have in our deck right now. Did our opponent get everything they needed off the Reset Stamp? Yeah. Nothing that we could do there. We lost the game, but we did bring it as close as possible. Well, that's what we got today, YouTube. I mean, I hope you saw some stellar Centiskorch play. If you saw any mistakes or anything like that, or if you have any questions about my play, let me know in the comments below. And again, if you haven't hit that subscribe, please. We're on our road to 1,000, trying to make it here. Help a homie out. I mean, I think it's a little bit weird that we hit almost exclusively fire decks today, but it's a very fire centralized meta, especially after this week, so it's not all that surprising. I mean, we got a bunch of great stuff coming out on the channel this week. I'm planning on some Pika-ROM content. Like I said, maybe some Centiskorch Silvally content. I'm going to have some top 10 deck videos, podcasts, you know, a lot of great things. So just as much as I could possibly offer the Pokemon community at this time. So hope you enjoyed watching this video. Until next time, I'm going to head out and film some more content. Have yourself a great day, and thank you again for watching. Peace out. Really hope that you enjoyed watching that video. I totally enjoyed making it. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like the video, share the video with everyone that you know, and subscribe to the channel as well. Totally appreciate all the support. We got a lot of cool things happening on the channel, so stay tuned for more. Be sure to check out the social links in the description. Thanks and have yourself a great one.